Here it is, $100.
All I got is 50.
50? I think I could do it for 50.
All right, I'll take it.
Good afternoon, police.
Yeah, I'd like to report a crime.
What is the crime?
My boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend actually bought a hot CD player.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in the early morning hours of July 27th, unknown thieves broke into the Stereo Warehouse. About 10 days after the burglary, a CD player that was taken in that burglary was found in the home of the defendant, Michael King.
You're about to see the trial of State versus King. Michael King is charged with the crime of purchasing stolen property, a CD player. The evidence will show that the CD player was stolen at a burglary at the Stereo Warehouse. Michael King purchased it at a party from someone named Ed. The state will call Jessica Harris, Mike's ex-girlfriend. She will testify that she was at the party and heard Ed tell Mike that the CD player was stolen. The defense will claim that Jessica is lying, that she's out to get Mike because he broke up with her. The state will also call Officer Wright, the arresting officer who found the CD player in Mike's bedroom. Mike will testify in his own behalf. He'll claim that he didn't know the CD player was stolen. At the end of the trial, you must decide who's telling the truth. You must decide if Mike is guilty or not. You must decide. You are the jury.
How old are you, Jessica?
I'm 17.
Do you go to school?
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school.
Do you know a person by the name of Michael King?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Michael?
We were dating.
Did you both go to the same school?
Yes, we did.
How long were you going out?
About 5 months.
Did there come a time, Jessica, in July that you and Michael went to a party?
Yes.
Was the party for a special occasion or was it just a party?
No, it was just a party.
Were there a lot of people at the party?
Yeah.
Did you know everyone who was at the party?
Oh, no.
Did there come a time at the party where someone you didn't know approached you and Michael?
Yes. I think he said his name was Ed, and he had heard that Michael was looking for a CD player.
What did Ed tell Michael about the stereo?
He said that it was brand new and that he wanted to get rid of it quickly because it was hot.
What did Michael say?
He said that he would take a look. I told him I didn't want him to get involved, but he didn't listen and he left with Ed.
Did Michael return?
No. I saw him again the next day and I told him I didn't want to see him again because of the CD player.
And what happened after that? Did you do anything else?
Yeah, a couple of days later I phoned the police. I didn't want to get Michael in trouble, but I didn't want him to become a criminal.
Are you sure that Ed used the word hot?
Absolutely.
Now, when Ed came up to you and Mike, were you to the side of the room or in the middle of the party?
We were in the dining room where a lot of the people were.
And when you say we, don't you mean you and your friend Sally?
Yes, Mike was there as well.
So, you weren't in the middle of the conversation between Ed and Mike, were you?
No, but I could hear what they were saying, though.
So, your testimony is that you were in a crowded room with lots of loud music, with lots of conversation, with lots of laughter, and you heard their conversation?
Yes, most of it.
Most of it? Isn't it true, Ms. Harris, that the day after the party, Mike came to you and he said that he didn't want to see you anymore? Isn't that true?
No, that's what I told him.
And didn't you tell him after that you were going to get even with him?
No.
And weren't you getting even with Mike when you called the police and when you testified today?
No.
I have nothing further of this witness, Your Honor.
What details have you been on?
I worked patrol, and then I went into detective division and worked homicide and burglary.
In July of this year, what division or assignment did you have?
I was in the burglary detail.
Did you get a phone call around July 27th involving this break-in?
Yes, on July 27th when I was working, I received a citizen's report about an individual by the name of Michael King that had purchased a stolen CD player.
And what did you do next?
One of the cases I was investigating was a break-in at the Stereo Warehouse, so I took the information thinking that this might have something to do with that, and took the address, and then I responded. King, is he around?
He's not here right now. I'm his mother. Is he in some kind of trouble?
No, not that I'm aware of. I do have a report that he might be in possession of a stolen CD player, and if I could just take a look around his room, we might be able to clear this up right away.
Well, do you have a warrant?
No, I don't, but maybe we can just go ahead and clear this up if you let me come in and take a quick look.
Well, okay.
Well, this certainly matches the description of some of the CD players that were taken in the burglary. What I'm going to have to do is take the stereo in and run it through the computer to see if it matches the serial numbers on those that were stolen.
But it's right here on his desk, and Mike would never do anything like that.
Well, I'm not saying that Mike stole it. I'm just saying that he might be in possession of some stolen goods that were taken in the burglary. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it, and then I'll let you know what I find out.
After you took the CD player, what did you do?
I returned to the police station where I ran a computer check on the serial number.
And what did you find out about the CD player?
It came back as a CD that was stolen at the Stereo Warehouse burglary.
And as part of your investigation, did you determine how much that CD player was selling for?
Yes, it was listed as $300.
Thank you, officer. I have no further questions.
Did you have Mike's permission to search his room?
No, I didn't.
And when you searched his room, you found that stereo under his bed, is that right?
No, it wasn't hidden.
On his desk, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
There was no effort to hide that stereo, was there?
No.
Isn't it true, officer, that later that day, he voluntarily called you and agreed to come in and talk to you? Isn't that true?
That's correct.
So Mike didn't try to run away, did he?
No, he didn't.
And he didn't make an effort to hide anything, did he?
No.
And didn't he tell you that he didn't know the stereo was stolen?
That's what he said.
Officer, don't you think it's a fair statement that innocent people often go to swap meets or garage sales or things of this nature and buy things that are stolen and they have no idea those things are stolen?
Occasionally that happens.
That occasionally happens? I have no further questions for this witness.
Does the state have redirect?
No, Your Honor, no redirect.
Does the state have any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor, at this time the state rests.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to present evidence at this time?
Yes, we do, Your Honor. The defense calls Mr. Michael King. Mike, let's cut right to the chase here. Did you buy a CD player knowing that it was stolen?
No, I would never do anything like that. I hope to get a job after I graduate high school or go on to college, and if I committed a crime, that could hurt my chances.
Mike, why don't you tell the jury a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm going to graduate from high school next year. I'm a pretty good student, but I don't really know what I'm going to do after school. I might go to the community college for a while. I've never been arrested before.
All right, I want to direct your attention back in time to that party when this whole thing started. Why don't you tell the jury a bit about that? What do you recall?
Well, I took Jessica to the party. There were a lot of people there and a lot of music. I must have mentioned to someone that I was looking for a CD player because some guy I didn't know came up to me and started talking about it.
And was Jessica standing right next to you?
No, she was standing across the room at least 5 feet away, and she had her back turned towards me. She was talking to Sally.
Okay. And this guy, what do you recall his name?
His name was Ed, and he said he had a CD player that he didn't want.
And did he say where he got the CD player?
No, he said he had gotten it for his birthday, and that he needed to sell it to get some cash. I don't remember what he said he needed the money for.
Okay, did he describe the CD player to you and discuss price?
He said it was a new Sony and that it cost about $300.
And what did you say in response to that?
I said that was a lot of money and I didn't know if I could afford it.
And his response?
He said that he was willing to let me have it for $100, but I told him that was still out of my price range, that I could afford $50.
And did you buy it?
Yes, I did.
Now, Mike, you heard Jessica testify today.
Yes, I did. She's lying.
Why do you say that?
Ed never told me that the CD player was hot. If he had, I wouldn't have bought it. I just wouldn't have.
You heard Jessica testify that she overheard that conversation.
There was no way she could have heard what we were talking about. She was standing across the room, and there was loud music. She's out to get me.
Why do you say that?
Because I broke up with her, and she took it really badly. She said at the time that she would get even with me, and I guess she has.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Mr. King, you've been looking for a CD for a long time, haven't you?
Not too long.
Well, long enough to know that the CD you bought was surely worth $300.
I wasn't sure.
Didn't it strike you as strange that somebody would sell you a CD player worth $300 for $50?
He said he needed the money.
And you never saw this person before?
No.
So when Officer Wright talked to you at the police station and asked you for some help in trying to find out who had stolen this property, you couldn't help at all, could you?
I told her his name.
Ed?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Ed, like, why don't you take the stereo back to the store and get your money back?
No, I didn't. He didn't buy it. Someone else did and gave it to him as a present.
When you talked to Officer Wright, did she tell you that Jessica had phoned the police?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't tell her at that time that you had broken up with Jessica and that Jessica had threatened to get even with you?
No.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mike, when you were being interrogated by Officer Wright, did she ever ask you about your relationship with Jessica?
No.
So you never had the opportunity to tell Officer Wright about breaking up with Jessica and about Jessica's threat, did you?
No, I didn't.
Does the defense rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any rebuttal?
No.
Now is the time for closing argument. What the lawyers say is not evidence. The only evidence is what you heard from the witnesses from the witness stand.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mike King is guilty. Oop, you heard me say it. He's guilty. He's guilty of being naive. And being naive isn't a crime. That's what this case is about, ladies and gentlemen. If you get too good a deal, you're a criminal. That's what this case boils down to. Let's talk for a moment about Jessica Harris, because she's the only thing the state's got. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Jessica Harris is an evil person. I don't believe she is, ladies and gentlemen. 2 days before she called the police, though, she got dumped by Mike King. And it hurts to be dumped by somebody, to be cut out of a relationship. That is a painful thing. And it's understandable that someone like Jessica Harris would lash out. And that's what she did. She called the police. And she probably figured the police would give him a hard time, you know, shake him around, put a good scare to him, and that this would all be over and everybody could go about their business. But that's not the way it worked out, because they arrested Mike. And now Jessica is trapped in that lie. If you have any doubt in your mind, do not convict him. If Mike King is convicted, this conviction stays with him for the rest of his life.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Michael King is not an all-American shopper. He's a thief. His lawyer gets up and tells you that he's just doing what any American shopper would do. When we make purchases, we don't make purchases out of the trunk of a car from people that we only know as Ed. Michael King got off the stand and told you, well, Ed never told me that the item was hot. He told me that it was a birthday present. Well, ladies and gentlemen, use your common sense. If you get a birthday present and you don't want it, what do? You take it back to the store and get your money back. Michael King wants you to believe that the only reason that Jessica Harris is here is because she's upset that their relationship broke up. Well, who has the motive to lie here? Jessica Harris or Michael King? Michael King's faced with a serious charge. When Michael King was confronted by Officer Wright in her office, he never said anything about his relationship with Jessica Harris. He never said that she had broken up with him. Jessica Harris got on the stand here and told you the truth. It is a crime to buy stolen property. The reason that it's a crime, and a serious one, is that if people like Michael King didn't purchase CDs from burglars, then burglars wouldn't break into buildings, do a lot of damage, and take equipment. The only verdict that you can come to in this case is that Michael King is guilty of receiving stolen property.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have now heard the evidence in this case. Now comes the time for you to decide whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. Under the United States Constitution, this is your job and yours alone. The state has the burden of convincing you beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. King knew the stereo was stolen when he purchased it. You are not advocates, you are jurors. If at the beginning of the deliberations you strongly take a position as to guilt or innocence, it might be hard for you to listen to what the others have to say, but listen to each other. On the other hand, don't change your mind simply because other people disagree with you. Change your minds only if you are convinced after an impartial consideration of the evidence in this case. Will the bailiff stand? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will keep these jurors under your charge, that you will suffer no persons to have contact with them until a verdict has been rendered in this case?
Yes.
Thank you.